Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Town of Wheatfield board meeting for May 15, 2017. We do have a preliminary meeting this evening. This is our annual stormwater report that is required, has to be done by, I believe, tonight. And Tim Zuber, that's, we haven't seen the actual stormwater report yet, have we? On the eve? Okay. I haven't read the 200 pages, whatever it is.
Well, I think the actual annual report is, I don't have a total page numbers, but it's a lot of filling in the box entries that the DEC needs when you report anything. So, but yeah, so like Bob said, I'm here to give the annual report for the town of Wheatfield. Obviously, under the Phase 2 stormwater regulations, the EPA established the Municipal Stormwater Management Program to help improve the nation's waters. Wheatfield has been identified as an owner-operator of a municipal separate storm sewer system. They abbreviate that with the MS4s for 4 S's in separate storm sewer system. And that makes the town subject to the Phase 2 regulations. The town, in partnership with the Western New York Stormwater Coalition, has developed a stormwater management plan for the town. All the municipalities in Erie, Niagara County that are in the traditionally designated MS4 areas have done the same. And it's essentially a guidance document to address the 6 minimum control measures that are required under the regulations. The stormwater management plan includes best management practices for each minimum control measure, as well as specific tasks to achieve and maintain compliance. The 6 minimum control measures are as follows. The first one is public education and outreach. And this includes pamphlets and school presentation, kiosks, displays. You'll see at different town events. A lot of those are put together by the coalition for the different municipalities' use. The second one is public involvement and participation. And this includes rain barrel events, the scout pickup, creek pickup, the one that was recently done by the river keeper that we had a part of Burgold's Creek that was cleaned. The third measure is illicit discharge detection and elimination. And that has to deal with all the outfalls that the coalition has helped us map throughout the town of Wheatfield. And basically, as we're inspecting those each year, a percentage of them each year, there are things to keep your eye out for that might signal that there's an illicit discharge, like if it looks like sanitary sewerage, or if there's a strong flow going and that hasn't rained. Those are indicators. So there's a system to find those, test them, and track them down. The fourth practice is construction site stormwater runoff control, and that has a lot to do with the stormwater pollution prevention plans that we look at when plans are in for site plan review with the planning board. Number 5 is post-construction stormwater management. That includes inspections that our stormwater management officer does on a monthly basis throughout the summertime. That's inspecting our construction sites, making sure that the people that have the permits are doing the things that they're supposed to be doing for those permits. And the sixth measure is pollution prevention, good housekeeping for municipal operations. This includes a lot of the maintenance work that the town does during the summer, catch basin cleaning, street sweeping, and also at the facilities, just doing inspections of them, making sure their oil water separators are checked and cleaned when they need to be cleaned. The work is accomplished through the collective efforts of the Stormwater Coalition members. A lot of these documents and everything are prepared, and guidance and training is provided to them. And the remaining work is the responsibility of the town. As part of the Phase 2 stormwater regulations, the town is required to report annually on the progress of the program. And the reporting period basically extends from March 10th of 2016 through March 9th of 2017. As of our next year's reporting, we're going to be switching the stormwater management officer. The town has changed earlier this year from the highway department to Lou Anastasi, a new employee in the building department. So with that, I'll open up to any questions. Are there any questions? I'm looking, Larry. I tabbed these so I could be ready for your questions, or anybody's questions. Okay, there are currently 129 mapped outfalls, and what our permit requires us to do is our goal is to inspect every outfall within 5 years. So that's basically 20% a year. And this year, I believe 30 were inspected, so that puts us in line with the requirement.
Okay. Plus they have to inspect like new construction sites and that.
Actually, all of our active construction sites are inspected. I believe we have 19 of them. Some of them they're called active because their permits aren't officially closed out yet, but they may truly not be active, as in it could be a future phase of a subdivision that hasn't even been started yet. So when we're in between those points, basically they don't have to do inspections. They just have to be ready to notify when they're ready to start another phase and proceed that way.
Have you found any illegal outfalls? And if so, what do you do with those?
To date, Ron Stevens has not found any illicit discharges. There are procedures that the Stormwater Coalition has developed. They have a cabinet that we're going to have to figure out how we get over to the building department of all the testing equipment. There's pH meters, there's a whole bunch of different equipment in there that they can use to check to try to narrow down what might be coming in the water. You see a clear stream of water, and it's in the middle of a drought summer like we had last year, and it's coming out of a pipe.
Why?
Got to track it down, see what it is. So, testing for chlorine. If there's no chlorine in it, it's probably not from a water break. But if it's, there's different procedures for them to track it down. But they have not had to do that yet.
With the new rules that we've talked about for maybe the last year or two that DEC is going to require, where is that stand these days?
Right, that new permit was supposed to be going into effect earlier this past spring, but they had an overwhelming amount of comments. I believe they had 400 pages of comments when they put it out to public comment. So they are taking all those into account, and they are going to be, as last we heard, reissuing a revised permit this coming fall, put it out for comment again, and I believe by January of next year, 2018, they'll finally have another permit in place.
Is that DEC regs driving it, or is that EPA regs or federal regulations driving it?
Well, most of it is the EPA stepping up requirements, and the DEC has to follow suit. Because we're New York State, we follow our state requirements, so they have to be equal to or more stringent than the EPA.
Anybody have any questions for Tim regarding stormwater report?
It requires mapping of outfalls. An outfall is where a pipe discharges into a waters of the United States, like a mapped DEC stream or wetland, or where it goes into an adjacent MS4. So we had a pipe, a drainage pipe that's underneath Town Line Road on the east side of the site. Any drainage pipe that goes underneath the road, once it gets to the east side of the road, is technically an outfall because it's going into a neighboring MS4. The outfall from Willow Lake. Well, no, because that's going into the lake. So these would be outfalls that would be from the lake going into it. It's not going into a different MS4, and it's not going into a water estate. It's going into the lake. Well, that whole system has a series of outfalls on it. Actually, both sides of Ward Road are technically outfalls because Ward Road is a state road. So states are their own MS4s, believe it or not. So they're a non-traditional one, but states for all their state roads are an MS4. Counties for their county roads are an MS4 as well. So basically, where something goes into their system is an outfall from the town to them. And if it goes from theirs and us, it's an outfall from their system into the county's system.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you, Tim. We do have 5 minutes before the regular meeting will start.